their government is evil and has been hijacked, and I think they're ready to do something about it. What do you think about all the upside down American flags that I'm seeing everywhere, and all of the comments on social media?
Well, as a military man, when I look back at that American flag, at first I looked at it as a disgrace. I hate to see my flag portrayed in a negative manner. And, that flag being upside down is the symbol of distress. So when I see that, it makes me nervous. And I'm that kind of guy at the football stadium when somebody doesn't take their hat off during the Pledge of Allegiance or during the national anthem, I get sick to my stomach. It really turns my stomach to see that, the lack of respect for our flag. But at the same time, our nation is in distress. If our nation doesn't stand up against this, we're going to collapse. And if now is not the time for our nation to be in distress, I don't know when it ever has been. That symbol, while at first it bothered me, now is encouraging me that yes, we are in distress. Now is the time to double our efforts and really fight, to really put our back up against the wall and stand up against the gross lawlessness.
Maybe we can all march on Washington with our upside-down flags, and when we win this thing, we can turn the flag back right side up where it belongs.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, what I am very worried about is, like I said before, them turning this into a fiasco and using it to further advance their goals, whether it's martial law or gun confiscation or war with Iran. These tyrants will be allowed to escape again using the order out of chaos.
Well,
how do we make sure we hold them accountable? Because they're going to be bugging out to their bunkers.
If they bug out to their bunkers, quite frankly, we win. If we make them run, that means that we have a chance to win. That means that they fear us. And again, this nation is held in chains by its fear, that fear that we can't stand up. The IRS is watching. DHS is arming itself. The NSA is watching. If I do something wrong, we're going to get an IRS audit. Whatever the case may be, we're tied to our desk in fear. And the federal government sits back with no fear because they have us controlled. And we can sit back and just watch the world burn because they're not going to stand up against us. We're too strong. They don't have the strength to stand up against us. We're too strong. We have to reverse that paradigm. We have to show the American people they don't need to be afraid, that they have a duty to stand up and defend their Constitution, that they have a duty to fight for their own liberty. We sit back so often and we're devoid of leadership. Will somebody stand up? Will a Ron Paul or a Rand Paul or a Ted Cruz or a Ronald Reagan please stand up so I can follow you? Stop waiting for somebody else. They're not coming. You're the answer. You are the next Ronald Reagan. Stand up and fight. Be your own leader. Defend your own freedoms. That's the foundation of our nation, is us individually, as people, we the people. We defend our own liberties. We forget sometimes that we scream about individual freedoms, but we forget that with that comes individual responsibility. We have a responsibility to defend ourselves. And it's time that we do that. It's time that we step up and lead. Don't wait for somebody else to lead. Be what you're wanting in your fellow man. Be the solution. Don't sit on Facebook and gripe about it. Do something about it. Stand up and really, it's time to get their hackles up. The hair on the back of our necks needs to stand up. We need to be pissed off. It's time to fight.
Absolutely. It's time to fight. I agree with you. I'm willing to become a leader. I'm not afraid anymore. I know the American public isn't afraid anymore just by the comments I'm seeing on social media. This is very serious. I think we're going to win. how do you feel about Obama signing a executive order allowing for Russian and Chinese troops on American soil in times of national emergencies? And do you think that they will use this new executive order during Operation American Spring? And do you think that this weakens us as far as a national security standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. It weakens us as a national security standpoint. We already have those troops here. There's some at Fort Carson that are training, I understand. I don't doubt the legitimacy of those guys coming in. You know, in my time in the military, we trained a lot of foreign troops, and there was some reason for that. But at the same time, they weren't here in mass. Will they take up arms against us? I don't know. Quite frankly, they're going to, with Operation American Spring or without it. They're here for a reason. Are they coming for us? Maybe. I personally would rather fight that force with 3 million other patriots at my side in D.C. and their background, in their backyard, than to try to come back here to my backyard where they can pick me off one at a time. It's time to unite and stand shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm. If they want to come at us, let them come. I don't think they do. I think that we can do this, and we can do it peacefully. But if they come at us with arms, quite frankly, in my opinion, we win. We win the public view. We win the hearts and minds. Those of us that aren't going, that are just going to sit back and watch and maybe cheer us on, but they're not going to go. Well, those guys, when they see this, when they see those atrocities happening in D.C., it's the Boston Massacre all over again. I think it really emboldens them. Man, I don't have a choice. It's time to stand up and fight. And that's what this battle is really about, the hearts and minds of the American people, to wake them up to the lawlessness that is happening in D.C. If they pull out anything physical on us as peaceful protesters, if they come after us with tear gas or with bio weapons or chem weapons or rubber bullets or real bullets, I don't care what they come at us with. If they come at us, we win that battle for hearts and minds. We may not win a battle in D.C., but we win the battle for hearts and minds. Now, quite frankly, I don't think they do that. If they do, it means it's political suicide for them.
I think they are willing to do it. I think they're purposely trying to collapse this country into the North American Union. You can tell by their reckless spending. We're trillions of dollars in debt. I think that they're going to use this to collapse us into the North American Union and to bring out the Amero. They already have a new currency and a new flag that was planned well in advance. So,
well, if they're going to do that, quite frankly, they're going to do it anyway. It's not going to. Operation American Spring may be used as an excuse, but they'd find an excuse. They'd make one up if they had to. If they want this, they're going to do it. Again, I would rather battle that with millions of other patriots at my side in their backyard than in mine.
Well, again, we have to get out ahead of the curve to tell people what they might try and pull, and just make them aware. Go on radio shows like this. I will help you with whatever promotional support I can, whether it's graphics, flyers, and you were telling me before you had some signs made up, and a guy, he couldn't participate, but he said that he would pay for the signs. So any way that anyone can support, America needs your support. We want our country back, and this is it. I think this is really it. I think this is our last chance to regain the freedoms that have been stolen from us. And I just hope that there's no blood shed, that we can do this peacefully, and we can achieve the goals that are trying to be achieved.
Absolutely. I believe that we can if we can get the numbers. That's the real question, is are 10 million people willing to stand up and sacrifice their prosperity, their liberty? Are they willing to sacrifice their resources to go?
Well, isn't that what America is founded on?
It is. Absolutely it is. And the question is has that been culled out of us? Is that spirit of rebellion still in us? Do we still have the spirit that's going to stand up and fight for our own liberties and our own freedoms? Do we still believe that those rights are inherent? They aren't given to us by the government. They're supposed to be protected by the government. The government's not protecting those rights anymore. The question is, are we, as free individual people, willing to stand up and fight and lead to defend our own liberties? Do we have that still in us? I believe we do. Now, maybe I'm naive in my faith in my fellow man, but I believe that the American spirit's still inside of us. We just need somebody to light that fire in there. We've got a disease, in my opinion, that has infested our nation. This disease of we're so risk averse. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to go out there and step out in front. We'll let somebody else do it. I don't want to take a risk because I've got a soccer game next week. I don't want to take a risk because they might turn off my TV. I don't want to take a risk because I'm broke. That spirit of individuality, that spirit of entrepreneurials, that spirit's been culled, and they don't want it in us anymore. And quite frankly, in some ways, they've won. So that disease that has infested us, the lack of leadership, the lack of risk, the lack of, well, quite frankly, we just have an apathy. And until we can cull that out, to put a fire in there to burn that disease back out of us and stand up and really take responsibility for our liberties and our actions, without that spirit, we're doomed. So I have faith that spirit's still in us. I pray that everybody else will stand up and fight too. They will fight for their own freedoms, for their own livelihood, for their children's livelihood, for their grandchildren's livelihood. Because, by God, if we don't stand up, we're not going to have anything left to stand up with. It's time.
I agree. And the flame of freedom that you talk about is not something that could be extinguished. To make sure we get the numbers that we want, what can we do as far as helping promote? Is there a media kit, like for flyers or brochures that people can print out?
Absolutely.
Is that on the
on
forum?
Operation American. Hey, OperationAmericanSpring.com or .org. Sorry, OperationAmericanSpring.org. Go there. There's flyers. There's T-shirts. There's banners. There's web ads. There's everything out there that you could push out through your social media, to print them out, take it to your local gun show, take it to your church, take it to your prepper group, take it to your militia, take it to your local wherever. Take it to your local Tea Party group, pass it out. Examples are, for example, March 2nd is Texas Independence Day, where we declared our independence from Mexico. So we're going down to a rally down there at San Jacinto, which is where we won our freedom. We're going down there, and we're going to pass out flyers to all the patriots that are showing up. There's several events in our area, a big biker rally we're going to go to. Every gun show just about in Texas, and quite frankly, this is Texas. We got a lot of stinking gun shows. We go to every single one of them and pass out flyers. And we're getting a lot of good responses. We're getting a lot of people that are signing on board, ready to stand up. Because, like you said, that spirit's still in us. That spirit of individuality and freedom is still there. We just got to get somebody to light that spark.
Sure. I'm going to a few survival and prepping expos where I'm going to be having my own table to promote the magazine. I'm on the OperationAmericanSpring.org website right now. Where can I find the media packet that you're talking about? Press release?
Yeah, a little lower than that on the